Scott, this will have some fans pretty excited. Remedy has shared new details about Condor, its live service Control spin-off. Tom Ivan over at VGC. Billed as the studio's first step towards service-based games, that's a scary thought, the title has an initial development budget of about $27.1 million. That is no small budget, Scott. Built on Remedy's in-house Northlight engine, it is set to enter full production this year for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. Quote, after the Hiss invasion, the oldest house is under lockdown, a boiling pot to violate and dangerous supernatural forces, end quote, Remedy said of the game in its annual financial report. Quote, trapped within the latest visage of the Federal Bureau of Control, who will need to take a stand and push back to regain control. Desperate times require desperate measures, and everyone's needed. The Control franchise is the larger than one story or one character. It continues with codename Condor. We invite players on a collective journey into the depths of the oldest house. Within, they'll face overwhelming enemies and obstacles, but by relying on their gear and each other, they will have a chance for survival. Remedy also confirmed that Condor will be a service-based fixed price game rather than a free-to-play title. Not something we normally see when we hear. Sometimes we do. It's a bit of a mix, man. It was interesting because Condor at one point was supposed to be free to play, and then they're like, actually we're gonna rewind that a little bit, back up, and we're gonna actually charge you first. But these are premium games that may have a lower initial price point, but a long tail of revenue through updates, game expansions, and potentially microtransactions. Everybody's favorite word. Scott.
Yep. Well, this is part and parcel with the games as a service model. And it seems like that's kind of wavering between how do we do that properly. And at least there's some thought put towards that.
Yeah.
Because games as a service has caused me nothing but worry lately.
Absolutely. No, if it's... I like the idea, though, Scott. What do you think of this thing? Like, I didn't play Control. Are you in on this?
I really loved Control. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've enjoyed everything Remedy has put out so far.
That's fair.
So I think this is probably a safe bet. It's going to speak to me, but I'm wondering what the gameplay is going to be like. Is this going to be just a team-based deathmatch? Because I don't think so. I think this... when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, well, it's a mashup of all these characters, and Dead by Daylight starts creeping into my mind because I think, okay, it's a ton of different characters from the Remedyverse. They're all getting mashed together, survive against the Hiss. This does have the markings of a game that it could play like Dead by Daylight based on this explanation, but I'm not sure it'll play out like that because of Control, Quantum Break, Alan Wake. You get into the creepy kind of fighting, but the way the gunplay out, it's not the same as Dead by Daylight. There's no gunplay in that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. It says here, right? The Control franchise is larger than one story or one character. With Condor, we invite players on a collective journey into the depths of the oldest house. It sounds like there is a co-op situation here up against who, right? Overwhelming enemies and obstacles. So... they will have a chance for survival. Very interesting to see what they're doing, but I understand. Dude, I absolutely appreciate the idea that every studio out there wants the games as service so that they can keep producing content and keep making money and keeping the lights on, right? That's how it works. If they can pull that off, can they pull it off is really the biggest thing, right? That's really what it comes down to. Control is a beloved game. Don't mess it up, right? Like that's... when you take a look at The Last of Us, and then The Last of Us Part 2, and we're supposed to get factions, and then Naughty Dog's like, no, we're scrapping this. Why? Because they don't want to taint the idea of ruining The Last of Us, right? They're like, no, we don't want to do this. We don't want to turn our studio into a games as service studio. We want to focus on single player content. The Remedy now has expanded quite well. Are they big enough, though, Scott, to then branch out with one part of that team to go work on the live service experience, and then the other team to go work on Alan Wake 2?
Well, see, yeah, after Alan Wake 2 just completely smashed the box office, I'd be surprised if they turned their entire studio to a games of service model. Absolutely. I think that would be an absolute mistake, and I don't think that's what's happening here. So when it comes to the idea... potentially microtransactions, I think that's giving, because if it were definitely microtransactions, then the studio is turned.
Yeah, no, they're gonna do some microtransactions. They're in single player games, right? Dragon's Dogma 2 right now is coming up pretty heavily in conversation of the effects of microtransactions. Dude, paying for fast travel just blows my mind. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? Like, that's not. I almost bought that game. I almost bought it, and then the amount of backlash I'm seeing on it, I'm like, I'm gonna hold off until this thing goes on sale. But it's one of those.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to have an opinion on this game at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just wait. I'll wait. It's not like I don't have anything else to play. But when you get into that live service experience, right? Single player games are getting microtransactions, but the live service relies on microtransactions. It's what keeps that game alive. It what keeps it going. When you talk about Dead by Daylight, dude, there's constantly a new enemy type coming into the game. Another purchase, another survivor to purchase as well that goes with it. Like, my son is all over it, and he's spending a ton of money on that game. This could be the same if they do it properly. We don't want to get that EA situation with Battlefront is what I was thinking, right? The Star Wars game that just no. Right? Like, it's just to get some of those characters, you had to spend a ton of money, and it's just ridiculous. So I think people are starting to kind of learn the ebb and flow of the games of service model a little bit better than what they did when we first started this whole genre up.
You're right, though. It's definitely going to be a character-based thing, because what else can you monetize in a game like that? Single-player characters are not going to be wearing weird rain jackets. That's not going to do it.
Yeah.